Hi, Chris Lesso here. Hope you are awesome and on the path and having fun and being challenged and all that great stuff. I want to introduce an event I did, which was unlike any event I had done before because I had no drum set. I only had a pad, and I love this pad. It's a ProLogix pad. Check out the whole line. They're fantastic. I love them. I use them all the time with myself and my students. But this was just me and the pad on drum technique. And drum technique is so overused. If you just Google it and YouTube it, there's so much out there on this. So my take is a little bit of a different goal and a little bit of a different take on this. Not in the way of it being a competition. Drum technique seems to be kind of an end to itself. You know, technique. Why are we doing technique in the first place? I remember seeing Daphnis Brito, fantastic drummer from Cuba, talking about this. And he said, like, well, what if, a lot of people don't think, what if you had perfect technique? What if you had the fastest feet in the world? What if you had ultra fast speed? What then? What would you do then? Sometimes we don't think, what am I trying to say with it? What am I trying to do with this? So technique really means how. It's the how of what we do. And in drum technique, to me, means the study of movement. So it's like becoming a dance and creating flow. Now, if we can create flowing, economic, ergonomic, really efficient movement, we can increase our expression and get into a flow state. Now, think about those two things. We can increase our self-expression. You are the only you that exists, and what you say is truly unique. When I started drumming, I was self-taught, and I had a lot of blocks, which I talk about in this event, which you're about to watch. Squeezing the sticks and getting in my own way. It's almost like talking like this if I were to put, block my throat or block my breathing. What I'm trying to say can't be expressed as fully. That's really the goal. And the flow state is called like the zone. Transient hypofrontality is a term that is used for this. And I know that sounds super scientific. Transient just means to slow down. Transient means time, so time slows down. Hypo means to slow down, and frontality is the prefrontal cortex of our brain. So basically what transient hypofrontality means is like to get into that zone where we kind of experience time in a different way. I believe that this is why we drum in the first place, why we're attracted to drumming. And it's the true joy of doing anything. It could be basketball for you. It could be cooking. It could be having a great conversation, a walk in the woods. This is when you'll experience flow states and the zone. And technique has really opened the doors to this. So having a good technique creates our sound. And I always like to say how you move is how you groove, because the sound is you. The big secret with gear is that, like, you don't need good gear. You can sound like you on some, cardboard boxes or trash can lids. You can express your unique groove. So this is a event. It's quite in depth. It's over an hour and a half, and I go into what I call the technique string. And rather kind of selfishly, a lot of innovation comes from something we're trying to work on in ourselves. And I noticed, when I would do a show and try to, watch the game tape or the gig tape and notice the challenges that I had, whether it's in a rudiment, a show I did or just something I'm trying to accomplish on the set, I noticed that it could always be broken down into one of these 6 points. Now, did I make up these 6 points? Definitely not. I, learned them along the way of my path, and I'm still refining them. But I just noticed that challenges could always be broken down into one of these things. And as I said, I was self-taught, so a lot of my blocks, when I always say there's no wrong way to play, there's no rules. if the technique, the how is working for you, then it's perfect technique. But there are certain blocks in working with nature. So in other words, we want to work with nature, not against. So if I was swimming against you in a swimming competition, I may beat you because ergonomically I have no hair and I'm going to cut through the water better because I'm working with nature. I'm getting rid of resistance, unless you're bald too, and working with nature, not against. So these 6 parts I've broken down into simplicity. Now, simplicity doesn't mean easy. Refining these 6 different parts is a lifelong journey, and I work on them daily. I always talk about the 3-minute rule. Even if you get 3 minutes of improvement in one day, that is a little victory. So this is, I go into each parts of the string, and I get as much information as I can, possibly put out in that hour and a half. It was almost like too much information to put into that time. So if you go to my website, chrislesso.com, and my YouTube channel, I've broken these down into video lessons. So that's all free. Just please check those out. And also go, behind me. We always say we stand on the shoulders of giants to where I learned these from. My teachers and their teachers' teachers. And it's really like martial arts. It has a long lineage that goes back. And we always stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before us. So I'm not taking credit for any of this. I'm not, I didn't invent any of these things. I just noticed how they tied together. So a lot of people teach these separately, but I wanted to create an arc within these 6 points. So please enjoy the class that you're about to see, this event that I did. It's over an hour and a half. It's pretty in-depth. Minimize distractions. Please put your phone on airplane mode, get in a nice quiet spot, and take some notes, rewatch it, and contact me at chrislesso.com, my YouTube channel. Leave some comments, subscribe to the podcast, whatever you want to do to connect. And, I'm always putting out this content to help you on the path. So enjoy it, have fun, challenge yourself. And did I forget anything? No, have fun on the path and get in depth into this and have fun. Drumming and learning is challenging, but super fun.
Cool. How's everybody feeling? Pretty good? The tribe of drummers. I love it. There's always such a good vibe at these things. This is great. This is the smallest drum set I've ever played. This is actually the first one I've done without an entire drum set. So this is pretty fun. I recognize a lot of faces. There's some new faces. How old are you? Awesome. I want to high-five you before you leave. That's great. I started when I was 6. Cool. So I want to share with you just the coolest stuff that's really helped me in my journey on drums. And we are so lucky to play this instrument. We were just talking as we were setting up that, man, there's just so many countries without clean water and with all kinds of stuff going on. We get to drum. How cool is that, right? And you're all here to learn. So, big round, give yourselves a round of applause. That's awesome. Some people said, I'll see that crazy bald drummer on YouTube. I'll just stay at home, and you guys are out seeking to better yourself and to learn. So this is great. I come to so many of these myself, and I'm going to be at the back 96, and I'm going to be putting on my hand and asking all kinds of questions. So this is great. If you have any questions, shout them out. Shy people don't learn. So this is on technique. And what the heck does that mean? Now remember, quiet people win. What? Nothing. Exactly. So what does technique mean? Anybody put up their hand and define that?
It's how you drum.
You nailed it. Yes, exactly. Me as a chef, my technique for cutting tomatoes is very slow. I kind of do this, and I take my time. Have you guys ever seen those pro chefs and and they just go, and amazing technique. So it's how you do something. So I just want to share as many things as I can today with you and improve your how. It's a means to an end though. I think some people get a little too carried away with technique in itself, and it's only a means to an end. So did you guys know Stevie Wonder holds the sticks like this? Okay? Is this a right or wrong technique? I really don't like the word wrong and correct and those kinds of things. Does anybody know the 2 rules of drumming? There's only 2 rules. Does anybody know them?
Have fun.
Have fun is going to happen anyway. That's inevitable. But that's a good answer.
Relax.
Relax is really good, but no.
Keep time.
Keep time is really good, but no. There are no rules. That's the first rule. So what's the second rule? What do you think, Phil?
Listen.
No, that's a good answer, though.
Don't break the first rule.
Exactly. Follow rule 1. You nailed it. What's your name?
Nick.
Nick, right on. Fantastic. You just want to save the insured, Nick.
Cool.
Remember I was saying about quiet people, they don't want to
Yeah,
do
you got
Nick. Right on. Yeah. So, exactly, there are no rules, and refer to rule 1, okay? I just saw in that room a little guy drumming, and I think he might even be taking a lesson. He was literally like this high, and he was 4 years old, and he just sat at the kit, and his parents were laughing because he couldn't even barely reach the pedal. It was funny. And he sat and he played, and he just started doing this. What does a lot of educators say he's supposed to do, which is the correct way? Start crossing, right? So already you're starting to do something that is unnatural, which is crossing over. Now, I play open-handed. We'll save that for another drum event. But that can really improve your technique because you're working your weaker side. And this, to me, I'm right-handed, and I think my biggest challenge is my weaker side. And my teacher, Dom, he said, in your life, try to challenge your weaker side in things that you do. So if you're on a computer, use your mouse on the left-hand side. If you're eating sushi, use the chopsticks on your left hand, and you've got soy sauce dripping down your face, but who cares? You're working your weaker side, right? So I think for technique, it's my weaker side. And playing open-handed, does everybody know what open-handed drumming is? So where you're basically not crossing. Okay, so your left hand is playing on the hi-hat or the ride cymbal. Even if you do this in the isolation of your own basement where no one can see how bad you sound, because you wouldn't believe how terrible I first, sounded like that. I started playing drums like everybody else crossed, and for 17 years I played like that. So I was really working my right hand, but not really challenging my left hand a lot. And when I started playing open, oh my gosh, it was tough for a while, and I kept at it. And the technique of my left hand started to improve. So that's a great way to improve your weaker side. And even in life, try to challenge your weaker hand. But that's open-handed. We'll save that for another event. But I'm thinking of the word technique, which is how you do something. And I just saw that little boy in there sit at the drum set for the first time. So we really have to throw away this notion of like correct. And you might say, oh, Chris Lesso said to do this, and then I go on YouTube, and this guy says to do this. It's really just a means to an end. So if you play like Stevie Wonder, and you're holding the sticks like this, does everybody know that Stevie Wonder plays drums on all his songs? Isn't that cool? He's got just a magical groove. So if you play the drums even like this under your armpits, and somehow that's working for you, that is perfect technique. Okay, so I'm not going to come up here saying this is the correct way, this is perfect technique, this is right, this is wrong. We're going to forget that. My goal today, though, is just to give you some tips to get out of your own way and become more of who you are. And open-handed is a great starting point for that. And like I said, I played like 1 hour on Friday nights when I practiced, and I used to lock the door and get a cup of tea or something and just put on my CD player on random, because it was before iPods and stuff, and I just would play with my weaker side and work my weaker hand. So that's a great starting point. I started playing drums when I was about 7, and I started on just 1 year older than you. And I started making drum sets out of things in the house. Has anybody done this? Where your parents say, "You're not getting a drum set," and this is pre-electronic drums, you know, pre-sound off pads. You guys seen those new Zildjian cymbals with the holes?
Mm-hmm.
Man, my mom would have loved those. So this is like before that. And I used to make drum sets of things in the house. And years went by, and I wore them down. And finally, when I was 12, I got an amazing set of Westbury drums. Do they still sell Westbury?
Yeah.
Are they here? Fire engine red. Amazing. It's like, blew me away. I still remember that day of setting up my first set. I think I played the Guns N' Roses, and it was just awesome. And I had some years of playing piano, because my parents put me on the piano for a few years. And then I just sat at the drums, and I skipped over all the technique stuff. Okay? I skipped over it all, and I just went right to playing music. So I put on my dad's giant Koss headphones because he worked in the radio, and I just jammed a Metallica, Kiss, Guns N' Roses, driving my parents nuts. And I just started playing. So I didn't have lessons until I was like maybe 20 or 21. So I did every wrong thing, which I'm happy that I did that, because I remember playing some of my first shows, and I'd have blisters all over my fingers, and they would break in the middle of the show. Does anybody have that happen to them? It's freaking painful. You got the sweaty stick rubbing on your hand, and you're like, this is song 2, I haven't how it go. And I used to squeeze the sticks, and I just, I sat wrong, and this, everything. I basically did every wrong thing you could do, and I'm glad I had that experience, because I know what it feels like to be on one side of the spectrum, and now I really had to earn it, because I had to break all those bad habits, and now I feel my technique is working for me. So I went right to the drum set. My teacher, Dom, had 9 years on the practice pad. He studied with Joe Morello. Does everybody know Joe Morello?
Man.
Legend. Now that's the old school. How many students do you guys think I would have if I told you, okay, 9 years on the pad?
Yeah. See
So,
ya.
yeah, exactly. 2026.
Yeah.
Maybe you can touch the drums.
Yeah.
So imagine 9 years on the practice pad, right? But Dom had, incredible technique, and he learned, so many valuable things from going to the pad. And the pad, I think of it like the laboratory, the where you refine your craft. Has anybody paid money to see a drum paddist perform? There are no paddists out there. I've never heard of one, right? If I were to play a solo for you on this pad, it might be cool for a couple minutes, and then 8 minutes goes by, and 20 minutes goes by, and you'd be like, this is the most boring concert. So remember that when we play the pad, we're thinking of the drum set. So everything I'm going to show you today is not to be good on rubber. We're not trying to sound good on rubber. We're trying to make music on the drum set. That is the whole point. Does everybody have a pad, or does some people have a pad? If you guys want one, there's 4 up here, and there's 2 over there. And did anybody bring a drum pad?
Yes,
Awesome, you got one? Cool.
my dad has.
Or your dad brought it for you? Can you give your dad a high five right now? Every kid drummer gets a manager until they're 16. That's how it works. Carries your sticks for you, carries your books for you, that kind of thing. So my biggest technique challenge, I think, for me is my weaker side. It's something I struggle with. It's something that I'm constantly trying to refine. Whenever I talk on the phone with my dear 83 years young aunt, or somebody that tends to talk a lot, I will practice my left hand. So I might do that. I'm like, yeah, oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Long phone conversation, I might play on a pillow. I'm constantly working on my left hand. So could you guys tell me just some of the technical challenges that you have? And maybe we'll do a Q&A today, and I just want to help you guys as much as I can. But give me some of your technical challenges that you're working on right now. By the way, you guys heard the thing, shy people win nothing, right? You guys heard that? Okay. You want to? Yep.
Foot speed.
Speed, fantastic.
Foot speed.
Oh, foot speed, great. And everything today, by the way, is going to translate into the feet. So we're kind of going to do hand and foot technique simultaneously a little bit. So foot speed, great. And what would you do if you had really fast feet? Like, do you play in like a heavier kind of band, or do you play double bass? You just want to rock it with the double bass? All I heard was about Kelly. Sorry.
Doubles with a single bass.
Awesome, cool. And coming up with some different ideas,
Yeah.
like with your feet. Oh, that's great. I didn't even think about foot technique until way later. That's a big challenge if you're like hand guy and your feet are not there. Now, Don, my teacher, Don Fanulero, he told me, go take 7 months of tap dancing and come back to me and work on your technique. 7 months of tap dancing. It was really fun. What an interesting way to work on your drum technique. So I'm sitting there in the tap dancing class with all these women, and yeah, I didn't care. It was really fun. Okay, anybody else? Nobody has any technical challenges? Holy smokes, yeah.
Returning from a fill and keeping other things going.
Oh, okay.
Like I can start the fill, but then when I end it, it's a mess.
It sounds like potatoes falling down the staircase, because that's what
everything
happens
comes back in
sometimes.
late and something. I don't
Now, do you think that's a technical challenge or coordination challenge, or it just, who knows?
Yeah.
It just
Probably it, however I figure the timing, I just lose it when I'm trying something else.
I hear you, and that might be, you might have perfect technique, and it could be another challenge too. So I hope you have a great teacher. There's some great teachers here. I have some Skype lessons on my website. Does everybody have a teacher, by the way? I still take lessons. I take Skype lessons with Klaus Hessler from Germany, and I still take lessons with Don Famulero since I was 17. I'm 39. That's 22 years. Amazing.
It's a while, man.
But yeah, so make sure you're taking lessons, and sometimes it might not even be a technical thing. Jojo Mayer said this thing once. He said a lot of guys try to play really, really fast, but they can't think that fast. So they have the hand speed, but they still might mess up something on the drum set because they haven't thought it all through yet. So sometimes it can be just clearing up, the conception of what you're doing, or the coordination. This is a big part of drumming, right? One hand doing something. And yeah, anybody else? Yes. What are you working on in your drumming?
My left foot and then
Awesome.
my left hand and then the open close technique.
Amazing. How long have you been playing?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Excellent. I've got a really cool Sonar t-shirt for you. Here you go. Ready? Catch it. Awesome. That's great. And that's good that, man, did you hear what he said? He said, I'm working on my left foot at 6 years old. That's really cool. I didn't even think about that until much later. So that's great. Have you ever tried playing open-handed? Like where you don't cross?
I'll put this down and I'll.
Yes. For the
Cool.
high hat and one of the toms.
That's great. Can you guys imagine if you played open-handed starting when you were 6? Wow, I started when I was like 24. My teacher Dom started playing open-handed when he was 49. Steve Smith started open-handed when he was 62. So it's never too late to learn. Steve Smith just recently switched to open-handed. Thomas Lang just switched to open-handed. Steve Gadd plays more and more open-handed. Steve Gadd's like 71 years young, I think, something like that. So that's great. Anybody want to throw in anything else about what they're working on? Technique challenges. Yep.
Keeping your sticks at the same level. You know what I mean?
Like stick heights?
Yeah, stick heights, single, doubles, triples, that kind of stuff.
Excellent. That's a challenge. Control.
Yeah.
And it never ends, does it? You get to the top of one mountain and there's like a whole other challenge there. You did one.
Counting.
Oh, counting.
Yeah. It's
That's-
easy to lose count when the beat starts to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And singing too. I like to, sometimes I'll sing, the downbeat like jid, 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 jid. Just using the voice. That's like the lost link, I think, in this culture.
But it's counting and also knowing how many bars you do.
Oh yeah,
Like I know you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, but after a while
it's tough, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, who said drumming was easy? There's so much to work on it.
Guitar player.
Yeah, guitar, exactly. Guitar is fantastic. So I'm going to share with you today something I call the technique string. And I'm all about, oh, you okay?
You all right?
That's the booby trap. You just hit the booby trap.
2 minutes for tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, awesome, you got a pad, yes.
I got one.
So the technique string is just 6 techniques that I notice tie together that I can break down anything I do into one of these 6 things. Did I make these up? Absolutely not. I just observed things and just put them together in a very simplistic way. Simple does not mean easy. Is anybody familiar with Bruce Lee and his work? That's a little bit, I love his approach. I bought all his books, picked them apart, studied them, tried to apply them to drums, his approach.
Water. What he says
Exactly,
about
be
water.
like water.
Beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
Crashing
Right.
down or flow gently.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about efficiency and simplicity. That's basically it. So I'm going to share with you as much as I can, probably way too much that can be done in an hour and a half, but we'll get to as many things as possible. If you sign up on my email list, I'll give you a PDF of what we did today, and there's a free video lesson series coming out on each of these parts. Okay, so it goes more in depth, and you can rewind it and watch it as many times as you want. You can tell them from the era of VHS. I still say rewind. Be kind, rewind.
Exactly.
So, so let's start out with this. The first thing about technique is totally about what I call your natural position. Okay, what is the root word of natural?
Nature.
Yes, nature, exactly. So it's to work with nature, not against. That's the whole point. To work with nature, not against. To work with nature, not against. Just keep brain tattoo that. So this was one of the most valuable things I learned. I got this from Steve Smith. Who did Steve Smith study with that totally changed the game for him? And besides Phil.
Okay.
Does anybody know?
Sorry, Phil.
All right, Phil, shout it out.
Yeah.
Freddie Gruber.
Yeah, does anybody know Freddie Gruber? He's like a Yoda type drum teacher figure. And he showed Steve this concept and many other drummers, Neil Peart from Rush,
Yeah.
Dave Weckl. And I saw this in, I think, 1999, 2000. It totally changed the way I approach the drum set. So check this out, the natural position. Okay, I'm sitting in front of just space. Okay, so you notice first thing is like where my feet are. Can everybody just, I don't know if you have room, but just your feet are in front of you. Yeah, you might have a chair in front of you, but just do the best you can. Now you notice I can see my toes. Okay, if I tuck my feet in like this, I cannot see my toes anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna go out just so I can see my big toe. Now let's just do like a single stroke roll and play it as kind of big as you can. We're on carpet, so it's not going to sound that loud, but ready? So 3, 4. Da, 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 right? Okay, good. Now, I'm going to tuck my feet in a little bit so I can't see my toes. Now do the same thing. Did you hear the volume just drop down a little bit? Does it feel a little bit
Calves
more
are working.
harder? Yeah, exactly. Now go in a little bit more. You get silence, exactly. Now if I go out too, same thing, you can't hear anything. So there's this sweet spot where your muscles are working really, really well. It's right about there. And you'll feel it, you'll notice it. Yeah.
Chris, if I may interject, are you mostly a heel player, or are you heel toe, or are you?
I do mostly heel up.
Okay.
Slightly up.
Right.
So I'm using my ankle. I don't have any pedals here, but
I know. Yeah, I know it's hard.
But I'm using my ankle but my heels are just off the ground. If you could think like a tap dancer.
About a third of the way down the footboard,
Like
maybe?
Up off the
Oh,
ground.
you play up
like
high, okay.
A centimeter off the ground.
And you tensioning? How do you have your beaters?
I have my beaters pretty loose.
Okay, yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I like the response.
What is tension good for? You know what the answer is? Nothing. Tension is like the enemy. Think of it that way. So I played on some sets where the beater, the spring on the foot pedal is really tight. Yeah, and I find like I guess the pro of that is that the beater comes back at you really quickly, so you don't have to work. But man, you got to push it down, and it feels like it's unnatural to me.
Yeah.
I like it kind of flapping in the wind, very very loose to mid. Yeah, good question. So notice my seat height too. My knees are a little bit below my hips here. Okay, if you sit really low, like that used to be the trend. I think more in the old days. Everybody know the drummer Vinny Colaiuta?
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to sit so low. He used to go to a metal shop and have his seat cut off, at the bottom of the seat cut off, so he's almost sitting on the floor.
Oh.
So that means his knees are like here, if his hips are here. This angle puts a lot of stress on your lower back. I'm sure like you guys, my dad told me never to lift something like this. You lift something with your legs, right? So you don't want to really stress out your lower back. So that's the seat height. So what do we have so far? I got the feet. Now dangle your arms loose like wet ropes. Can you guys think of wet ropes? But keep your back straight. What's your name? What's that? Did you have a long day? You're like, oh. So when I said relax your arms, you just went, oh, like that. So make sure you keep your back straight. Okay, that's to get lots of oxygen. We want to breathe as much as we can. Okay, fantastic. But my arms are really loose like this. You guys see that? We hold a lot of tension in the shoulders and neck. So sometimes I see some students like, all right, let's drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're really fired up, and all that tension is in your shoulders, so really loose. And I just bring my forearms up about parallel with the ground. Okay, so really simple like this. And this is called around the barrel. Can you guys do this? So you notice that I didn't come in here. Okay, is it wrong? No, but this is just going to be our default natural position. So just like that. Can I see that? And if you got a pad in front, so let's go palms down, Phil,
Okay.
if you can.
So, like that?
Yeah, but relax the elbows in a little bit. Yeah, good. Fantastic, just like this. Yeah, excellent, good. And a lot of people start going like this, like jittering, so you want to be really still and just relax like that. Now, can everybody see where my drum set would be set up right here? Like, can you imagine it? Can you see where my bass drum would go? For sure. My hi-hat, can you see where my snare drum would go? So there's the exact center. There's the height. Okay, now where's my floor tom going to be? I just rotate my hips. Can you guys see my floor tom? Can you visualize my floor tom? For sure. There's the dead center. There's the height. Okay. You guys seen the original Star Wars from '77? The best one, right? So do you remember the scene where Luke was fighting against that little ball, and he had the thing covering his eyes? You guys remember that scene? He's like, yeah, right on. So it's almost like that. Everything on your drum set, you should be able to have a blindfold on and hit with confidence. There's my snare right there. There's my kick. Where's my ride cymbal going to go? Right there. Where's my toms? Right there. And just everything is right there. And notice what's natural is nothing really breaks this. Can everybody do this for a sec? Yeah. And does everybody know Bernard Purdy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Shuffle.
amazing drummer, right? Yeah, the Purdy shuffle, the king. Absolutely, I agree with you. Now put your arms up like this. Okay. Now relax. I'm not going to torture you with this. Now relax. Now just imagine Bernard Purdy at a drum clinic, and he made everybody do this for like 6 minutes or something. And he told them some silly story about a sandwich he ate or something, right? And everybody's just like, ah. And he's like, are you feeling that? Are you feeling that? Everybody's shoulders are starting to burn. And he goes, all right, relax. And he's like, oh. And he goes, why would you set your cymbals up in that zone? And everybody went, Oh. So if you look at Bernard's set, everything's like right there pretty much. Just look at Benny Greb, Steve Smith, just all these fantastic drummers. As you get older, you want to get better. You don't want to get worse. Has anybody seen Steve Smith drum in the original Journey? Yeah. Have you seen him play in 1983 compared to now?
Yeah,
It's
big-
unbelievable.
big
He's sitting
difference.
really low, knees up in the air. His ride cymbal was like here. And he's not playing like this. And now he's 63 years young, I believe.
It was more of an 80s thing.
It was
70s
totally.
and 80s, because a lot of drummers do the same thing. Like you can look through, I guess, guys like Bonham or I saw a video of Queen
Yeah.
in Wembley '86. I think it was, and the drummer, I forget his name. He was like, everything was
I
like
know.
right up here. Same with like Phil Collins, all these guys, like they do the same thing.
I think we've evolved.
Yeah.
We've started to evolve. You see drummers sitting higher nowadays as well. Has anybody seen the movie Spinal Tap?
Oh yeah, many
Okay,
times.
so-
Exploding drummers.
Just explode. Yeah, I might explode and there'll be a green, it's a green glubby on the drum stool. But that movie made fun of that concept because do you remember where his cymbals were?
Mhm.
They were like here. And when I was about 11 years old and I saw Spinal Tap, I didn't know that was a joke. So I set my cymbals at that high. Remember I told you I did everything like the hard way? So I'm playing my drums and yeah, if I still did that today, I'd be having some serious issues. So yeah, so we have natural position. It has to be the first thing you do. If you play golf or if you're a boxer or something, your default position is always going to be extremely important. Okay. If a lot of times I'll be in a rehearsal studio or something like that, and I'll sit at the drums, and like the snare's really low, the kick is out here, the hi-hat's pulled in, the ride cymbal's here. So if I were to, I'm like, man, the last drummer, I feel bad for him or her, because that means they're like playing something like this, right? So you want to keep that position where it's effortless, okay? And watch the first Star Wars again, just because it's cool. Okay, excellent. So natural position, we got that. We can't really go further until we get that. So you notice this pad here is exactly in my natural position because I came here earlier and I set this up. You see that? It's exactly there. And I've seen some drummers set up like Dennis Chambers, Kenny Aronoff, some other guys have a measuring tape when they set up. So they know where that perfect position is. Okay, 6 inches, or whatever. And yeah, people are really picky with their natural position. So it's an excellent thing. Yeah.
Chris, if I may interject for a second, one thing that I noticed that I really admire is the fact that you're a match grip player for the most part, but your angle of your snare per se is a traditional setup, which means you're getting more contact with the beads.
Yeah, I just and what Phil means is you see that my pad is angled away. So this is me, and it's angled away. More the traditional way is to do this, which is fine. You guys remember the thing about no rules, right? If you think of someone playing hand drums, I'll just stand up so everybody can see me. See how my hands just slope down ever so slightly? You can imagine I'm boisterously playing a show.
Santana.
Yeah, right. So all I'm doing is following that angle, right? And actually everything on my kit is like that. So it looks a little strange, but my cymbals are angled away. My floor tom is angled away. Just YouTube me and you can see the whole
Notice that.
setup. But yeah, it's just to follow, see how picky I am with the position. It's just to follow that angle. It's not right or wrong, but it feels really, really good to me. Yeah. But it's all about that position to me. So let's see how it follows that line. Yeah, fantastic. So, okay, so first part of the technique string, there's 6 parts. I'm going to try to get through all 6. I don't know if I will, but we'll give it a shot. I'm going to overload you with information. One cool thing, does everybody know Jim Chapin? That's where a lot of these techniques came from, the great Jim Chapin. If you absorb 10% of anything he said, that was like a good ratio. It just would overload you with so much information. So I'll try to do that to you today. So first thing is the free stroke. Okay, the free stroke. This is all about the way that the stick rebounds. So you can see that I can actually dribble the stick, just like a basketball. And I just got married in April, so I'm getting used to this new percussion with my wedding ring. But so I'm just dribbling it like a basketball. I'm horrible at basketball, but I can dribble the stick. Now, can everybody? So I'm in my natural position. Now just point to the ceiling. So I just was in there and I just pointed to the ceiling. Can you point to the ceiling? Yeah, keep your thumb on the stick. Good, perfect. Little thing about the index fingers. Can you leave it kind of not straight, not curled in, just about halfway? The way your hand would go when you sleep. Like when you sleep, you don't do that and you don't do that. You just do this, right? So I put the stick in my hand. It's right there. This is the kiss of death for drummers. See my index finger, guys? What's that? The stick is like, it's like a python is wrapping around the stick. No freedom. This is an interesting thing, by the way. Look how loose I'm holding the stick. I call this the twist test, so I can always twist the stick. Okay, it's very loose. Now, since this pad is mic'd, this is the first time I've had a pad mic'd. It's kind of cool. It's the loudest pad I've ever played. But listen to the tone. And this pad is a Pro Logic pad. I've just started playing. It's really cool. And the bottom is all out of wood. So you can almost hear the note of the wood and maybe a little bit of the note of the sticks. Check it out. It's almost like a hum. Now watch what happens when I squeeze the sticks. So I'm going to bring my index finger in. I'm going to squeeze and I'm going to make an angry face. Ready? See if you hear a difference. Fingers open. It's like night and day. Amazing. That's amazing to me. That blows my mind. Because the sound, I thought, came from the tip of the stick hitting a drum head or a cymbal or something like that. But it's actually the way how, the vibration of the stick here and how loose you are affects the whole sound of the kit. That blew my mind. So we're going to be very loose, keep that index finger out and point to the ceiling. So we have like a right angle here, like a square. Yeah, perfect. Looking good. Looking good, yeah. Keep the index finger out a little bit. Yeah. And some of this new information will seem it'll feel kind of wrong. And that's okay. Sometimes when you learn something new, you become worse as a drummer. So you'll come to this crazy bald drummer's drum clinic and you go home and you're like, man, I'm like worse than I was when I came. But this is what happens if you stick with it. You really get to your next level up here, but sometimes you got to go through that new information that feels really strange at first. So some of this stuff might feel kind of weird. So I have a stick pointed to the ceiling. I'm going to throw it down. What's the stick going to want to do? It's going to want to rebound, exactly. So I'm going to let it. Oh, that cymbal just was timed perfect.
Yeah,
dramatic.
cool.
And so I'm going to let it go down, and I'm just going to catch it when it comes up. And I like to do this on the 2 and the 4 because that's where we want to be as drummers, right? So let's try this. Anybody that's got a pad, ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Good. So you notice that I'm thinking down. 3, 1. So good. So let the stick bounce. Good. Yeah, good. Now watch how fast it comes up. Like see how fast that sprang back at me? So if I'm ready for it, let's try quarter notes now. 1, 2. Try it. Oh, you have no sticks. Oh my God. Okay. You could.
Does anyone need a pad?
You could go borrow a pair of sticks from the rack there.
Yeah, sure.
Let's switch hands. Just imagine you're doing it then. Good. Excellent. And what happened? What's your name?
Ingrid.
Ingrid. What happened to Ingrid was like you almost lost the stick. That still happens to me sometimes, and that happened to me a lot when I started it. That's showing you the power that's in the stick that you're trying to harness, and so that's a good thing there. So what you don't want is like squeeze it and be in control. You almost want to. Do you know that trust game where you just like fall back and someone catches you? It's a little bit like that. You're throwing the stick, and you're just trusting that it's going to come back. And don't hit a rim shot like that. We're going to hit right in the middle of the pad. Let's go together, guys. Yeah. Good.
Chris, I find it interesting, being an open-handed player, you started playing your left hand on 2 and 4.
I did. That's true.
Yeah.
That's because I'm.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know what I do is I still air drum like this.
Yeah. I just thought if you asked me to do that, I would have started with my
Old
my
habits
left
die
hand.
hard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, great. And I don't play open-handed.
Absolutely. I think how you. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll always
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
It's in my DNA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good. Who's been through stick control here?
Oh,
books.
Okay, yeah, like if you go to like Nunavik near the Arctic and you ask for a drum book, you're gonna get stick control. It's just everywhere.
George
It's like
Worthstone.
yeah, exactly. Now, let's see if you guys were listening. Who was my teacher's teacher? So my teacher's Don Famularo. Who was his teacher?
Joe Morello.
Yes, Joe Morello. Who was Joe Morello's teacher?
Elvin Jones.
No,
Oh, it was
George
George.
Lawrence Stone.
Yeah,
The
right.
guy
I
that
didn't
wrote
know
Stick
that.
Control.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I found out after I went through stick control. You're supposed to go through stick control as free strokes, as rebound strokes. I had no freaking idea. So I was like, I don't know, 14, 15, 16. And I just went through stick control as the patterns. And it turns out I was squeezing the sticks, getting blisters, but I was just thinking about the pattern. Right, left, right, 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 left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, 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 left, left. All those crazy patterns in stick control. And I was not thinking about rebound strokes. So go through there. I just gave you way more work. So go through it again.
Same with accents and rebounds. When you read the fine line, at least 20 times each line before
20
going
times
on
each
to the
line.
next.
It's challenging, eh?
If you're playing like that, forget it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So imagine going through, so once you've got the free stroke down, so I'm throwing the stick, and again, see my YouTube lesson for this. I'm going to put out a free lesson on it. You can Skype lesson me. You can see some, there's a lot of YouTube stuff about this, but get a teacher and really perfect the stroke. This is a game changer. That's why I'm starting with it. And eventually, we go through it always. So these would be full strokes, half strokes. So stick goes down, comes up every time. And low strokes. Like Kobe Bryant, he's like dribbling really low. Right? So feeling the stick bounce. That's the power of rebound. Really, really important. Now let's, okay, so we got a few pads there, right on. Let's form a drum line here. You guys ready? We're gonna do a cool exercise. So this is the free stroke. Now, imagine if I took a ball and I threw it and catch it. Throw the ball, catch the ball. Throw the ball, catch the ball. But if I keep doing that faster and faster, it starts to like a continuous motion, starts to dribble. So that would be like this. Keep it anchored a little bit more palms down. Not that it's right or wrong, but we're just going to use this hinge of the wrist. Very natural, yeah. Can you do a little more palms down, Phil? Yeah. Isn't it? You're stretching. It feels good. There you go. Now flip in. Good. That's that weaker side, right? Now let's go 8 per side. 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. So get a feel like you're dribbling the ball. 7. 5, 6, 7, 1. 1. 1. 1. Also think about my fulcrum. 6. 1. 4, 5, 6, 1. 5, 6, 1. 1. 5. 1. 1. Let's fix this. one-trick pony. That's all I got. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Yeah, I got it. Notice I'm grooving, or I'm trying to groove. I got the face. I'm a pigeon neck guy. I tend to do this. I got a friend that's a shoulder swayer. Ringo was a head bobber.
Yeah.
Right? What's your move? You guys got a move? You gotta have some kind of move. You don't want to be like a statue. Nice. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2. Give yourself a stick clap, stick clap, stick clap. Yeah! We should form a band. I think we're good. What do you think? Yeah, right on. So that's a little ritual. I go through that almost daily. Right, just one. It's not a speed thing, but sometimes I'll try to get a bit of a dribble. Or I might do some free strokes. But daily, I need to remind my muscles about to go with the stick. So I'm letting the stick do the work. The stick is coming back, I'm not pulling it up. Can you imagine taking a basketball, squeezing it, pushing it down, stopping it, and then pulling the ball back up? So you're fighting gravity. It's not going to work. Work with nature, not against. Yeah, so that's a free stroke. Rebound, stick control. Does anybody have any, and don't do the stick spins, by the way. I'll just get you fired from does anybody have any questions so far? Cool. So free stroke, rebound, the stick wants to bounce, get out of the way. Fantastic. So next part of the string is the molar stroke. This is really cool. We were talking about this a little bit. Does anybody know where this came from, or is anybody familiar with the molar stroke? I know Phil is, right?
I'll stay quiet.
What's that?
I think Germany?
The name is, I think, German. And Don would kill me right now if he's know your history. You know, I think the name Moeller is German, but Sanford Moeller was a drummer in the 1800s, and when he went to his lesson, he used to take one of those big rope tension snare drums and put it on the back with a horse in the wagon and go to his drum teacher. So this is like before cars, before drum set. And the best drummers of that day were Civil War, ex-Civil War drummers, which were old men at the turn of the century. And he noticed that to get power and stay relaxed, they were whipping the stick. You see how relaxed I am right there? Okay. And if I do it without hitting the pad, well, there's a little bit of noise in here, but you'll hear like a. I can hear it because it's in front of you. Almost like a bullet going by. So it creates power through momentum, not through force. Does anybody notice some of the strongest drummers out there are not Arnold Schwarzeneggers, but they're like skinny little guys like me, and they get a lot of power in the drums, right? So it comes from momentum. So let's try this, guys, or you can imagine it, or watch me steal my moves. I got my drum line up here. Let's try this. So I'm going to imagine like there's an imaginary string on my elbow, and the tip of the stick weighs 1,000 pounds. 2 points. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to go in slow motion. String pulls me up. Can you try this with me? String pulls my elbow up. Tip of the stick's heavy. Tip of the stick's heavy. Yeah, you got to be like an actor. So it's like, oh, it's 1,000 pounds, right? Now once I'm there, I'm going to lead with the elbow and end the same way I started. And sometimes I freak students out and I say, okay, see this whip here? I'm going to do this on my beautiful iPhone. And they're like, oh, don't do it. I'm like, no, watch this. I would never do it. But I can execute the stroke. Boy, I gotta be really careful. But I'm still doing the exact same stroke. This is like Tai Chi is a similar thing. Like just, I don't know what I'm doing by the way, but I can imagine, right?
Careful.
But they okay. I can't forget that this is here. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna move it. But yeah, think of doing something very slowly to just get it down with no, because a lot of people start doing the whip and they just think like, oh, I'm gonna hammer this pad in like a punching bag or something. Bruce Lee used to train his students. He noticed that when he trained his students, they had a big, like a punching bag, big leather punching bag with chains and, 9 feet tall leather thing. And he noticed his students were like tensing up because you see this big object and you're like, oh, I'm gonna beat it up. So he would train his students with a piece of paper hung from a string from the ceiling, just like this big. So you'd have to, so they'd stay very relaxed and just think of the motion rather than hitting. We never want to hit the drums. Think of like, want to give me a high five? Yeah, right? Can you give me a high five? Yeah. That's what you do with the drums. It's never hitting. So that's what the whip is all about. It's the movement. Because how we move is how we groove. If you leave with one thing, that's a pretty cool thing to think about. How you move is how you groove. The groove is not here, it's here. Okay? Notice I have no drum set in front of me. I'm grooving my butt off right now. I got the pigeon neck thing going, right? I played this drum event in a school, and these kindergartens were in front, and they ask amazing questions, like 6-year-olds, and this one girl goes, why do you look like a pigeon when you drum? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. I got that, right? But it's how your body is grooving or moving that's going to affect how your kid sounds. Think of your favorite drummers and watch how they move. Don told me a great thing once. He said, watch your favorite drummer, but mute the sound and just watch their body. It's a really cool exercise, especially Steve Gadd. Just watch him, but mute it. And you'll see this. You'll see all the things we're doing today. It's really neat. So let's take the string. You guys acting with me still? Okay. So what's the 2 things to do with the mower stroke? Anybody shout them out? So one thing was the imaginary
String.
Yes, fantastic. What's that? Heavy tip. Mm-hmm. You got it. Wow. You just won a Sabian shirt. Incredible, right? All right. See why I don't play basketball? I almost was way up. So good. So yeah, tip of the stick weighs 1,000 pounds. There's an imaginary string. Now let's take the string and move it to the wrist. This is huge. This is one of the best takeaways from today. Ready? So we'll take the string and just a mini little whip. Let's go together. 2, 3, 4. See, I can't help it. I don't know. What song are you guys thinking about right now? See, I'm thinking of a bass line.
Oh, Aerosmith.
Perfect.
Good song.
We're probably all thinking of different songs. That's cool. You could do this to a song.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see. I know the words.
Yeah.
Sing it, right?
We're drummers. We don't care about the words.
I had a student recently.
I heard that the other day. That song.
It's a great song. And she was warming up on the pad, and she was focusing really hard and on these techniques, but no groove. She forgot about the grooves. I had to remind her, like, think of a song. And all of a sudden, whole demeanor changed. So why can't we make the pad groove? Remember, no one's gonna pay money to hear you play rubber, right? It's all about the kid. So good. So you can work on all these techniques with music or bass lines. Bass player's your best friend. So fantastic. I could do both hands at the same time. Now with traditional grip, it's the same thing. There's a string coming here on the wrist, tip of the stick's heavy. Yep. Yeah, so it's an arc. It's a circle. Yeah. I'm gonna stay away from traditional because you can do it.
A little different.
Yeah. Has anybody ever ridden a horse here and whipped the reins? It's a little bit like that. Has anybody ever tried to shake water off their hands? Flick water off their hands? A little bit like that. Have you taken laundry out and you flick the laundry? It's a little bit like that. So yeah, it's like a flick. Okay. Good. Now watch this. So the next part of the string, pullouts and control strokes. This sounds very technical, super easy. I'm gonna just get right into it. So watch this. So here's my whip. I'm whipping with the wrist. So on the way up, I'm gonna steal a tap. Watch this. Great for shuffles. Now, am I working for that soft stroke? Not at all. It's effortless. Because I was coming up anyway. See the string come up? Yeah. That's tricky, eh? So the first one is the string pulling up. Watch. So watch. Can you do that, Ingrid? Yes. Yes. Again. Yes. Isn't it a strange sensation to pull the sound out of the drum? Think of Keith Richards pulling the sound out of the guitar. Think of a cello player, a cellist, right? A cello player pulling the sound out of the instrument, or piano player pulling the sound out of the instrument. That's the key. Yeah, and don't hit it, but it's just like a touch. It's a ghost note. Good. Now watch this. The loud one is after it. Ready? Yeah. You almost do it the other way. Ready? Soft, loud. Fast, soft, loud. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And put a little break in between. Yeah, good. Ingrid. Ingrid representing the girl drumming community. I love it. Be careful, guys. The girls will play circles around you. Right? You know what I mean. Switch hands. Oh, and now it's the tread of the left hand. No, watch. Do slow mo. Yeah, good. Soft, loud. Get it backwards. We're good. Yeah, that's it. Watch. Watch me do it again. Ready? Slow motion. Yeah, that's it. And look, because once I'm here, what am I going to do? Exactly. Like I'm like set up. What am I going to do? Right? Or baseball. Well, watch a pitcher, by the way, for a mower stroke.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Or a golf swing, or a tennis serve. Incredible. Okay. Excellent. Now, control stroke is after the whip. So watch this. I'm going to go whip tap. Whips first. Ready? Do it in slow motion. Whip, tap. Don't come up though. Okay, ready? No, with me. Slow motion. Ready? Whip, tap. Yeah, that's it. Ready? Tap. Perfect. Angry. Good. Don't do this though. Okay, just. You guys know the song "Californication" by the great Red Hot Chili Peppers? I just got tickets today, February 4th. Yeah. So imagine that song. He does a control stroke. He does the whip. Imagine it. Okay, I won't say. Whip tap. Okay, good. Any questions about this so far? Cool. So I just have the whip, and I'm stealing taps around the whip, either after it or before it. Does that make sense? As the whip, there's the original. I'm coming up anyway, steal the tap. Steal the tap. That's the pull out. Control stroke is the opposite. Whip tap. Good. Fantastic. Because ghost notes are going to be a big part of most grooves. So, yeah, you're going to be using these a lot. Okay, excellent. Now, next step is what's called pumping motion. Okay, pumping motion is we're going to tie together control strokes and pull-ups. So check this out. I'm going to go whip, tap, up, whip, tap, up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Ingrid, good. And no break. We're going to continuously throw, put a pause though. 1, 2, 3, and tiny whip. You're going way back, and it's more. Stay in your poor left hand. Be patient with your left hand. You're like, I'm giving up on it. Good. And this took me years, by the way. Years. I didn't just come to an hour drum event and like, wow, I've got it. Be really patient with this stuff. There's a story about Jojo Mayer, and he took lessons with Freddie Gruber, who we talked about, one of the great Yoda teachers. And he learned some techniques from him like this. This is in the 80s, I think. And he played a gig and he felt terrible. Remember I said you get worse? So imagine taking lessons and all of a sudden you're worse. So he's playing a gig and he's panicking because he's like, holy smokes, I feel like I can't play. Like I feel terrible, I feel off balance. And he phoned Freddie the next day and he's like, Freddie, like I just did everything you taught me and I feel really, really bad here, I'm panicking. And Freddie is a bit of a character, so he said, I'm not your freaking mother. Just practice the exercises and don't bug me. And there were some explicitives in there too, right? So you can use your imagination. But I'm not your freaking mother. Don't bug me. Click. And what he meant was like stick with it, man. It doesn't happen instantly. So Jojo, I think he said 6 months he had to sit there just doing these exercises over and over, and it's freaking boring. And you just do it anyway every day a little bit. Yeah, and it feels really weird today. You're gonna get worse today, Ingrid. You're gonna go home and be like, I never should have listened to that bald man. 6 months from now, it's Ingrid 2.0. There you get, right? Yeah, okay?
Let's do this watching the Jays game.
Absolutely, you're right, absolutely. Now let me, it's not about speed, but I'm gonna speed it up, okay? Just to show you where it goes, so just watch. So here's the whip. Now if I add the one after it, the one before it, okay, put them together. Now how many times am I working?
Once for
One time.
3 notes.
3 notes, yeah.
That's it.
And when you put them together,
That's strokes.
that's where the fun starts. Do I have the best hands in the world? Absolutely not. But understanding these principles is like, at least the doors are open and you're in.
I'm sure it helps your last 2-hour gigs too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, the fatigue.
Because I barely really sweat that much.
Yeah.
I don't break sticks.
Yeah.
I just wear out sticks. Yeah. So good. So that's called pumping motion. Anybody have any questions about that so far? Anybody ever surfed in here? Do we have any surfers? I'm like a mind surfer. I wish I've seen videos. I think it's pretty cool. I'm a mind surfer. But surfing the wave is kind of like what we're doing. You've got the whip, and then you're learning to harness that energy and go with it. I'm barely doing anything right now. Okay? Yeah. So that's we're surfing. We're surfers. Cool. The second last one, so this is the 5th one now, is the long roll, which is also the double stroke roll. Okay? So on paper, this looks really simple. Right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left. But I'll show you this from the side. So from the side, you notice that, so there's no whip here, so I'm taking away the molar whip. My wrist is just going down, just like that. Now the stick is going to want to rebound. Right? And you notice that I have to get up to start the process again. And I just need 2 bounces. 1, 2. So I'm going to play the second bounce and get back to my starting position as that stroke happens. So watch this.
Kelly McDowell, call 239. Kelly McDowell, call 239, please.
This took me a while. Yeah, that's it. I play it long roll from the side view, instead of doing this, so I'm going down, down. Is it wrong? Heck no, that's not wrong, but it's more work. So I'm not riding that wave. I'm fighting nature a little bit more. And also, this is where you'll hear, I love being mic'd, it's so cool. I'm gonna put a mic in my basement. But if I go like this, if I squeeze the sticks, now I can open it up. It's so easy to, down, up, down, up. Think of a shuffle or something. Yeah. So that's the long roll. Down, down, up, basically. Yeah.
That was a quick
I
song.
cued that to happen right
Yeah.
there when I closed it. Yeah, they want it to be a funky pad clinic, I guess, right? Yeah. Cool. So that's the long roll. I'm going to give you guys a little exercise I call 4, 6, 8. Okay? Is anybody familiar with the great drummer Mark Juliana? He was just on the, awesome drummer, eh? He practices this for 8 minutes straight. Just the long roll. So do you have the discipline to sit there going for like 8 minutes? It's always the boring stuff that gives you the most result. Okay? I forgot to give you an exercise. I'll give this to you in a PDF, by the way. I know this is like informational overload, but with the pumping motion, I'll just back up for a second and go back to pumping motion. The exercise that I was given for this was called 5-5-5. So I just want to show you how boring some of the exercises are. If you think of like a boxer just sitting there, 200 reps for right, 200 reps for left, that kind of thing. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So it's called 5-5-5. You go 5, it doesn't have to be fast. 5 minutes with the left. As slow as you want. Ingrid's like, no, I thought we were done this. Yeah, 5 minutes straight. Once you got it down, not tonight. In front of a mirror, by the way. Does everybody have mirrors here? Excellent. I get to do my hair and practice at the same time. I got 50 more ball jokes coming.
And the tensory look.
Okay, 5 minutes. Could be slow or fast. Switch hands. 5 minutes. Pretend it's 5 minutes. Good. 5 minutes together. Nice. Now you repeat it. 5 minutes left. Start with the weaker side. And always start with
the other left.
Yeah, your other left, right. Good. 5 minutes together. So what's the total time?
15 minutes.
30 minutes of boredom. Now I started doing it 5-5-5, it's 15 minutes, and then later I did it. Dom's like, you're supposed to repeat it, read the fine print. Oh man, I didn't read the fine print. This is 30 minutes straight of that. That's crazy. Yeah. So remember, it's the most boring, repetitious stuff that really gets you to your next level. So the long roll, okay, so it's called 4-6-8. So we're gonna go in subdivisions of 4, and then 6, and then 8. You ready? So let's think like, can everybody tap their foot to this just to get a groove? Good. That's going to be like our metronome. Okay, so let's do 4s to that. Right, left, right, left. Only 2 per hand though. Right, left. Yeah, that's it. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. And just wrist and fingers. A little less of the elbow gear. Yeah. Good. Yeah. How you doing? You feeling good? This is really boring. I wish Chris was playing a drum set, right? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Phil. Awesome. And if you don't have the speed yet, that's okay. Like I said, I've been doing this a very long time. It takes years. Right, left, left. It's tricky, eh? Because you're in. You can do 6, but they're 2s. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, da. 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 Do that for a couple minutes. Then you go to 8s. Not that I have the best long roll in the world, but just stop for a second. I want you to listen to the sound, okay? Just the phrasing of it. So I'm trying really hard to make it legato. I gotta do the hand when I do that. You ever do that with me? Legato. Legato.
Beautiful. Oh.
Be innocent. Hey, I don't know, I can't help it. Didn't you ask me if I was Italian?
Yes, I did.
I'm not, but I feel I am.
You are now.
I am. So, but does everybody know what legato means?
Smooth, long.
Yeah, like you would. Can everybody try this? This is a bit of Indian drumming. Say takadimi. Yeah, this is an Indian form of spoken rhythm. Okay, and it's called conical. We're jumping around the world here. So takadimi. Can everybody say that? Takadimi, 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 takadimi. Good. If I point at you, just do it individually. Okay? Ready? Taka, all together? Takadimi, takadimi, takadimi,
Takadimi, takadimi, takadimi, takadimi.
White shirt.
Takadimi.
Black shirt. Excellent. Now, beautiful. Now, so I'm trying to make the pad sound like that. We all can naturally speak it. If you can say it, you can play it. We don't say alligator, alligator, or takadimi, takadimi. That's unnatural. It's like takadimi, 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 takadimi. You see what I mean? Even if it's not a speed thing, though. Even if I go slow, it's an art. And it's really hard, actually, to get the perfect long roll, and to get it to remember from the side, and to get that to time that up. If I do it from the side, instead of going. You hear the sound change, by the way?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Listen to this, guys. This is without that pull. Here it is with it. Into the drum. Yeah. When I was a young drummer like this lad, I underestimated that. Like we all do when we're young. We say, like you underestimate boom schmack. You go, yeah, that's easy. Give me something cool. And then you get older and you're like, wow, that's pretty deep. Boom schmack is actually amazing.
Meat and potatoes.
It's all about boom schmack. Yeah. There's a great documentary on Tom Petty on Netflix. It's like 4 freaking hours. So you can just watch it in pieces when you have your dinner or something. And the drummer, Steve Ferroni, that's an Italian name, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's all just like boom, boom, smack. But it's like done in the most incredible way. So the long roll is got that vibe, just right, right, left, left. But it's just getting it. I don't have it perfect yet. I'm looking for it. It's a light fun thing, yeah.
That's the one thing I learned at Dom Tomulero's clinic. With the forefinger down just a bit, watch what happens in my hand. You demonstrated. There it's tight, right? As soon as I drop that forefinger, look what happens.
It's magic.
It opens up.
Yes, and I'd even say a little bit more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, we did that at the beginning, yeah, because if I curl them in,
And then open them up. Look at that. Beautiful.
it's kind of like,
Yeah, the chains are off.
in, it's like, I can feel that tension all on my arm and I'm making angry face. We all have drummer faces, but we want like the good ones.
Yeah, exactly. Smileys.
Good. The last one of the technique string is pumping motion with double taps. Pumping motion with double taps. This one is the most challenging one, and you might want to just go through the first 5 for like 6 months to a year, and then come back to this one. Well, let me just demonstrate it. So I'm gonna go whip, double tap, pull out. Whip, double tap, pull out. Oh, sorry, man is a tongue twister. Whip, double tap, pull out. So I get 2 bounces. Yeah, Ingrid, good. Yes. Da-da. So it would sound like this. Da, da good, da good, 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 da. Just listen to it for a second. Hold on a second. Cool. Good, beautiful. So it's still pumping motion, but I just added the concept of the double touch to it. Kind of makes sense? Okay, good. Yeah, kind of makes sense. So if I take, check this out, if I take a 5-stroke roll, now here's where it all ties together. So 6 parts of the technique string. I always have my students come in and I say, what's the 6 parts? And they're like, I don't remember any of them. And then, so it takes a while to memorize these and to get them a part of your DNA, you know what I mean? But there's only 6 parts. But any rudiment or motion on the kit is one of these 6. There only is 6. Did I make these up? No, I just observed it and I just tied them all together. I noticed it has to be one of these things. And this came from me just working on my own weaknesses. You know, I got a Zoom camera on me when I play a gig, and then I go home and I usually go, oh no, I played too many fills or whatever, you know. And I go over the tape and I'll see the challenge. It's always one of these 6 things. Always one of these, it has to be. So I'll demonstrate that, and then you guys throw me any rudiment or any, yeah, I guess since we're on pads, it has to be a rudiment. And I'll show you how it's one of these 6 things, okay? So I'm gonna take a 5-stroke roll, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready to go 5-stroke roll? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Now you notice, Ingrid, that I'm flipping it? You've got it. But I'm going hand to hand. It's just a different, is it right or wrong? No, there's no rules. But you can work on it later going hand to hand, okay? Now can you guys, we'll jam on this in a second, but I just want to show you something, okay? On the mic. I'm going to speed it up just slightly. Watch this. Okay? It's not a speed race, but I'm just... Okay, now check this out. I'm going to take away one hand. I'm just going to play it in the air. So I'm going to, this is called the mechanics. So I'm going to see what's going on underneath the hood, okay? Do I got my groove going on? Do I got my pigeon neck? Everybody give me the pigeon neck. Shoulder swipe. Ringo bobblehead. You gotta have a move though, right?
Right.
Singing my bass line. Oh no. Okay, now I'm gonna take away one hand. That's part 6. Whip, double tap, pull out.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay? Now, so to have a flowing 5-stroke roll, let's pretend I did this. Down, 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 pull stick up. Down, 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 pull stick up. So some people, like me, when I was learning my rudiments, I couldn't figure out why is my 5-stroke roll not getting better. Because I put it all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if I just practice, it will come. If I just practice every day. And I didn't know what the mechanics were. So when I dissected it, and I went, oh, more whip, bounce the stick with rebound, double tap as I come up, which is part 6 of the string. Now I'll put it back together, see if you can see it. Cool, eh? Yeah, that's weird. Now I'm like, it's not a speed race. But remember, how you move is how you groove. Yeah, right on. You guys gonna win prizes with that. That's all you, yes. But
Call 231.
yeah, it's not a speed race, but it's how I'm moving. It's like, okay, good, I'm in. I'm not the fastest 5-stroke roll guy. I'm like, oh, I've got opportunity and possibility now because I understand the movement. Okay, let's take one rudiment out of each family of rudiments. Because how many rudiments are there? Do you guys know?
Single, double, flam.
How many rudiments total?
Oh, 26 standard, a million.
Rudiment nerd, just like me. 26 original,
Yes.
40 total. 40 official rudiments. So are we going to go through all 40 rudiments today? Of course not. But there's only 4 families. So one family is the rolls. So 5-stroke roll, we got it covered. Okay, let's take the single-stroke roll. It's not the fastest single-stroke roll in the world. But can anybody tell me which part of the string this is? Okay, I'll take one hand away. Which part of the string? Anybody answer?
Wrist.
Wrist is, can you be more specific? Wrist is happening, yes. No? That was that's the first part of the string. Remember the rebound? Right? So I'm doing this. To get a nice sounding single stroke roll with ease, I need to be letting the sticks bounce. So that's part 1 of the string. Remember the free stroke? We did that about 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
How long have we been going? Like 3. That was right. Remember the dribble? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I take the mechanics of a single stroke roll, take one hand away, same thing. So another family of rudiments is the paradiddle. Okay, so I'll take the single paradiddle. Everybody know that one? Paradiddle, 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 right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. You're changing the pattern, Ingrid, but it's still really cool. I still like what you're doing. Look at that up stroke. Okay, let me play it one hand. Ready? Isn't that the funkiest?
Sounds like a heartbeat.
Yeah. Man, that's funky. Now the pull out there is the most important part of that rudiment there, and that's part 3. Yeah, 3 of the technique string. Okay, so the pull out. So I'm going whip, double tap, pull out. So I've got lots of parts of the string there. I've got a whip. I've got remember the long roll double tap, so I've got that, and I've got a pull out. So all 3 parts of the string are there. It's almost a little like pumping motion. Check this out, here's pumping motion. Listen to this, I'll double tap the middle. Stop for a second. Oh. So here's original pumping motion. Here's one double tap in the middle. Pull out. I still have the pull out on the end. And I'm just going to change the rhythm slightly. I'm thinking about it. It sounds like a bass line to me. So yeah. So when I put them back together, I'm like, wow, I have a lot of insight into that. A lot of smoothness. Is it going to set a world record for speed? Who cares? How you move is how you
Groove.
Absolutely. And at least my paradiddles sound good. I know that. They're not set to speed record, but so the pull out there is the most important part of the pedal. So, anybody throw a rudiment at me? A crazy
stroke.
one? 6-stroke roll?
Yeah.
Okay, you go.
Pataflafa.
Pataflafa. I knew someone would pick the pataflafa. How does that one go again?
I forget myself.
What's that?
I forget myself. I just
I
remember the
think.
name.
Give me a high five for that. You win a prize for that one. Yeah. Pataflafa. Vic Firth flag and sonar shirt, man. For knowing what a pataflafa is. Fantastic. Who named these rudiments, guys? Who would go, I got this cool rhythm. Yeah, pataflafa, that's what we'll call it.
The NARD, National Association of Rudimental
That's right.
Players.
You're gonna write them a letter.
Yes.
So you might not know a pataflafa. It's flam left right, flam left right. Okay. I'm gonna take away one hand. Let's find out the mechanics. They might be different, by the way, for each hand. Let me just play for man. You got me. I gotta practice for a second. Okay, I'll take away the right. You can play it on your leg if the air is too airy. Okay, it's a molar whip with 2 control strokes. Right? Could look at that as a pull-out. Easy. Some people are intimidated by a pataflafa. They look at the rudiment poster and they're like, that's the hardest one. This de-intimidates.
Yeah.
What's the word for
Nice
that?
try.
I made up a new word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like mine better. De-intimidates any rudiment. Like, they're not going to scare you anymore. Because you're like, I at least have the key to get in. Right? So, I know more whip, and I know 2 control strokes. Okay, let's go. So, okay, so let's see the other side. It's the opposite. That's super cool. I just learned something. So whip, pull out, pull out. Can we try that? Or imagine it? Try it. So as I'm coming up for the whip, the string is pulling up. Good. Yeah. Isn't that neat? I just learned something new. So that's the right hand, and the left hand is the opposite. Whip, tap, tap, tap. Whip, tap, tap. The other one is tap, tap, whip, tap, tap, whip. Let me put them together now. See if you can see that. And maybe like stare at one hand and then stare at the other hand and see if you can kind of see it, okay? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Notice that I'm looking for the motion and I'm looking for the groove. I'm not looking for the speed. A lot of people go, okay. Right? You guys ever had that feeling? I have, right? Okay, here we go. I lost my motion. My face got angry. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
In the camera?
It's there.
Zoom in. You can
Actually,
put
I
that on
get
Instagram.
everything below the pigeon wing. I'm more interested in the.
Oh, that's stick?
Yeah,
Good. It's better.
exactly.
You don't want my big head. So my groove is gone and my motion is gone, and I'm angry. So, but if I go focus on the motion of the rudiment, the parts of the string, I'm smiling. It's kind of grooving, I think. Notice I'm tapping my foot to the beat, moving my head a little bit, right? Now I have the doors of possibility are open for speed, should I choose to speed that up. Now, you mentioned pataflafa. I haven't been practicing them. Let's see how fast I can go just to see it. So at least I'm kind of in. That's about as good as I can get today. But at least I'm in. You guys see that? Instead of like, because I have my pull-outs down, I have the parts of my string down. Yeah. Any other rudiments you guys want to dissect? Throw at me?
The reason I chose the 6-stroke because like that pataflafa,
Oh, 6-stroke, sorry, yeah.
it's a well-balanced rudiment. So here you're going with a 6, you're going. demonstrating molar. And there
Yeah.
with a pat of fla-fla, it's the same accent pattern.
Yeah.
Beautiful. There you go.
So 6-stroke is like that. Yeah, let's figure it out. So I'll take away one hand. That's
There
the
you
last
go.
part of the string. So
There
it's
you
pumping
go.
motion in 2, but I double tap. I double tap the pull out. You're like, I can do that. What was the word? De-intimidates. Yes, I know this. And your brain also goes, oh, like, I remember that. If you isolate all parts of the string, later down the road, it's like remembering a face. I know you, where do I?
Hey, man.
Hey man, exactly. I don't know your name, but so your brain will start to go, I know that. Let's do the left hand, sir. Same thing. So I'm in, not perfect,
No, it's
but I'm. Alright. Don't forget to breathe, by the way, guys. I meant to cover this at the very beginning, but you could even make an exercise out of it, like 4 count in, 4 count out. I feel so lightheaded and this. A lot of times we go, okay, 6-stroke roll, and shallow breath. Or like the big, you groove in, right? Boom, smack, boom, smack. Here comes my big moment, Phil Collins moment. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. And you're like, and your body wants to like get that fill out of the way so we can breathe. Right? So pay attention to your breathing. Yeah. So cool. So that's all 6 parts of the string. I've tried this literally with every rudiment and every. If we could watch a video of Steve Gadd or not that I'm comparing myself to Steve or myself when I go over my gig tapes or anything like that, I always see a challenge, and I know it's one part of the string. Like, oh, I lost my rebound there. I'm gripping too tight. Oh, I'm out of my natural position. I need to work on my molar whip with my left hand a little bit more. There's always something to work on. Yeah, fantastic. You guys have any questions about that? Excellent. That means it's all making sense.
Yeah.
That's right. So 6 parts of the string. So the first one is free stroke. Okay. The concept of rebound. You cannot fight the stick. When I was a kid, I thought it wasn't cool to wear a winter jacket in the cold because we live in Canada. So I'd be like, Mom, I'm opening my coat. And I was like 15. Do you think I won or do you think nature beat me down?
oh, right. See, nature.
Yeah, I got sick and it didn't work out. Now I wear big hats because I got no hair and it's good. So you can't fight nature. You have to work with nature, not against. So the stick wants to bounce up. I have to learn to be in harmony with that, and that has to do with fulcrum, rebound, all that stuff, position. Next part of the string was the molar whip, the concept of the whip. I'm getting a lot of power. Yeah, look at the smile, Ingrid, that beautiful smile. She's not angry. Have you guys ever seen some drum heads and they look like the moon, just with all these craters? That's people squeezing a stick, pressing into the drum. You don't want to do that. You'll kill your hands. So the molar stroke. Second part of the string, pullouts and control stroke. Sounds like a very technical term. It's just stealing the taps. Remember that? Either before the tap or after the tap. Okay. Fourth part of the string, pumping motion. Put those together. Okay. Fifth part of the string, the long roll. The concept of the double, catching the double, we call it. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Catching the double, along with de-intimidate or take notes. And what's What's the last one? And the last one is pumping motion, adding the double taps. So I go whip, double tap. It's almost like a tongue twister. Whip, double tap, pull out. Whip, double tap, pull out. But take away the tongue twisting words, just play it. And remember the rudiment that was in was the 5-stroke roll. It's verbatim. But it also falls into many others. Yeah? So that's all 6 parts of the string. So if you sign up for my email list, there's a video lesson on each one separately. So you can just watch that over and over, rewind the tape. No, I'm just kidding. Right, Phil? VHS? Yeah. And you can watch it as many times as you want. I have lots of content always. So on my site, go to chrislessel.com, sign up for the email list. Thank you, by the way, to Vic Firth, Sonar, Evans, and who did I forget? Sonar, Vic Firth, Sabian.
Yeah.
That's the dream team.
Yeah.
I gotta not forget anybody. And I've used all 4 of those. I endorsed them way before they ever knew who the heck I was. I was like 9 years old when I started using Sabian. Vic Firth, does anybody know anything about who Vic was as a person? Okay, dead, awkward silence. So that means no. So if you go on the Googles and you just type in Vic Firth, learn about who he was. It's not just a drumstick. He was an amazing man and person of character. He played 50 years with the Boston Symphony. That's one of the best symphonies in the world. Who has a gig for 50 years though?
Ooh.
Maybe Charlie Watts?
Yeah.
Who else? I can't think of anybody. I've been only playing drums for 32 years. Okay? Having a gig for 50 years of one of the best bands on the planet? Man, who does that? And then he invented, he started making these drumsticks in his garage because the sticks of the day were like bananas. They were warped. You guys remember rolling sticks on the glass surface of the music store? You guys, that's old school, like me, to see if they were warped. And that was the kind of standard of the time. Vic upped the game. Vic Firth now are the best sticks on the planet. So who does that in one lifetime? You have a musical gig, you keep it for 50 years, then you start a business, and that becomes the top business on the planet, and you're doing both. That's just like unbelievable. Yeah, and Vic is just such a cool, well, he's passed away now, but, and what's your name in the red shirt? The Pataflafa?
Yeah.
I'm going to call you Pataflafa.
Colin.
What's that?
Colin.
Colin, right on. So I've seen, how old are you, Colin?
14.
Awesome. So when Vic was alive, I would see guys like Colin going up to Vic that are like 11, 14, around that age, and Vic would make them feel as great as, you know, Steve Gadd. He would always take the time to talk to every single drummer. He went to like every single PASIC. How many PASICs were there? Like 30 something. He would just stand in line, and all these people wanted to talk to him, talk to every person. Just an amazing, you know, who we are as people is who we are as drummers. So we have to work on our character as much as our pataflafas. Right? So Vic epitomized that. Okay, so do research into all this. It's great. And shy people don't learn. So if you ever go to one of these events, always ask a question. Never think it's a stupid question. I've done that many times, and I always leave being glad that I did it. Does everybody know Greg Bissonette?
Yes.
Yeah. He had this drum clinic once where he said, "All right, guys, how's it going?" He kind of talks like that from California, a little raspy. "Hey, guys, how's it going? All right." He's like, "We don't have much time here, so I just want people to come up to my drum set, play for 1 minute, and we'll talk about what happened." Now, how intimidating is that?
Yes.
Wow. Right? And there was like 90 people at this drum clinic. And I'm like, gosh, if I don't put up my hand, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. But I really don't want to do this. And I'm like, but I'll regret it because this is like battle. And I'm like, maybe he won't see me. Right? And then he's like, all right, you there. And he picked somebody else. And it's crazy. It's played anything for 1 minute. And he goes, okay, go, man. And he'd time you. And then the person's playing, and he'd write things on the board like, okay, dynamics, space, groove, things like that. Just anything he needs. He's like, all right, that was a great idea, but maybe if you lowered the dynamics a little bit, think of song form, that type of thing. And then he goes, okay, who's next? And I'm like, oh crap. And he goes, you there, the bald guy, come on down. I'm like, oh man. And I was just terrified. I was like, I think 21 or something. Greg Bissonet's one of my like hero favorite drummers. And I played probably not very well. And I just sat down. I was like, man, I'm so glad I did that. And I learned a lot. I grew a lot. So remember these things, or if in your future, just I'm kind of shy too, so I know the feeling. But put up your hand, ask that question, and if you can teach something, you learn it twice, or you learn it a lot better. So if you can teach something you learned today to somebody else, that is huge, and that's great. You'll learn it all the more stronger. Okay. Yeah! Awesome, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming. Cool. Fantastic. So my name's Chris Lessel. Go to chrislessel.com. Sign up sheets there. If you sign up, I'll give you a PDF of what we did today. And there's free 6 lessons that go with each part of the string. Okay?
Cool.
So I'm here if you guys ever have any questions, and email me. And find me on the media, on the Facebooks and all that stuff. I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Great job. Thank you.
Well, the drum chair is the best seat in town. You're the captain of the ship. You can actually dictate the tempo of the evening. You can do all kinds of stuff. I look out at the audience. If the audience isn't grooving, I know something's wrong. I will shift the tempo. You know,